You're trying to make it seem like I'm crazy, and I'm gonna show you what crazy is. Wait till I'm sober.
My daughter Ginger is an alcohol-dependent addict.
I'm trying to save my daughter. Off. Okay, I will off. Goodbye.
Ginger's mental health and addiction is going to end her life. It's not even a question.
I'm going to get money, then gonna find a liquor store. Need to get drunk.
My daughter spends $200 to $300 a day on her heroin habit alone, and she's also drinking at least a fifth of whiskey.
In her manic state, she will be up in your face.
Get away from me.
And then you are the devil.
You have no job and you're not a good mom.
My daughter Ginger's troubles really began for us about 4 years ago. She was an exotic dancer. She left for work one evening and just never returned.
I was absolutely horrified. I could not believe that she didn't take the kids. That's not something normal Ginger would do.
When my daughter Grace and I found Ginger with the pimp, she was very thin, bruising on her chest bones. She was acting very submissive. Ginger moved on from dancing to prostitution.
It just turned into a spiral downhill.
She's been bouncing around Dallas, Nebraska, Illinois, Nevada, Missouri. My daughter Ginger, she's been pistol whipped, been beaten, robbed, left for dead, literally raped. About a month ago, my daughter called me and she says, Mama, I'm tired. Can I come home? I took Ginger to a detox center. Her blood alcohol level on admission was 0.282. In the last 24 hours, drank 2/5 of whiskey, and she's begging for more.
My lifestyle choices has ruined my life. Stopped me from having a career, from going to school, and stopped my kids from having a mom. I might be killed, or I might drink myself to death, or overdose, who knows? It's only 10:30 a.m. and I've already almost ran through my entire bottle of liquor. I did the best I could to stay sober after detox. Sadly, I have definitely been drinking daily. I can drink anywhere from a few pints to a fifth and a half, 2/5 a day. When I started dancing, I took to the lifestyle of drugs and alcohol. I was using cocaine, methamphetamine, some opiates, just whatever. When dancing wasn't cutting it, I turned to prostitution. I liked prostitution at first because I could do a job in 1 hour that I would have to work 9 hours at dance club. Every single day was scary. I had to do drugs to function during the day. The last few years, I've lived hotel to hotel, city to city with pimps. I've been raped twice. I was sexually assaulted and shot at with my own gun. Last year, I was with 2 men. They locked me in my bathroom. I don't know how many people I ended up having sex with that night or what they drugged me with. A year ago, I stopped dancing, and about 6 months ago, I stopped prostituting. I do still currently make money, occasionally selling nude photos of myself. Money's not that great. It's a little too late.
Apparently,
I can save myself.
So why do I hold on to hope? Hope's the only thing I've had to keep me alive in this thing, too.
This time around, I really genuinely want to be different for myself, for my kids. My mom will say she's my biggest fan, but she's detrimental to either my sobriety or having my babies back.
We need you.
No, I need my kids.
I cry for you daily.
My
Your
kids-
kids cry for you daily.
Do you know how hard it is to quit heroin? Do you know how hard it is
Have
to
I
quit
been
meth?
supporting you? Fight for it, Ginger. Fight for
I've been.
yourself.
If I have to maintain living with my mother to be around my kids, she will have me arrested or put into a mental institution.
This is not about me. This is about me trying to save you from yourself.
Well, thanks for the warning. Because I would have never expected an addict to be manipulative.
Not in 1,000 years, right?
You guys are really concerned about her very life, right?
Yes, sir.
And are you concerned that she's going to overdose, or do you think she's going to get raped and murdered
All of
by John or these pimps, or is it just Russian roulette? One of them's going to get her.
It'll be one of them happening.
Yeah, it's just a matter of time.
Yeah.
You know.
You have a very combative relationship with her because she paints you with the evil brush of trying to steal her children.
Right.
In one breath, she says she's grateful that you're taking care of them, but you've taken it too far.
Right.
When was the last time you guys were collectively together where it started, ran its course for an hour, 30 minutes, half a day, whatever, and she left and there wasn't a blow up?
I can't tell you the last time she hasn't. There's
Okay,
been
so
a day where she hasn't had
that
a blow.
just is a non-occurrence. She can't hold it together for an encounter,
No.
for a complete encounter, even if it starts out okay.
Yep.
Every single day was scary. Prostituting for nightly and daily, hotel to hotel. I don't know. You risk being raped every single day. Had to do drugs to function, drink myself to sleep. Sugar daddies, pimps, tricks, and scared. And I had to go. I'm gonna find a liquor store. Need to get drunk. Once I start drinking a few shots, then my sweats will go away. I feel more relaxed. My shakes will go away. And I'll have to figure out my way to get more and do f***ed up shit to get the money to do all of it. It's a daily thing.
Hi, Dr. Phil. It's Michael here. I have been on the streets of Hollywood for about 2.5 hours now, looking for our guest, Ginger, on foot. Ginger, are you in there? Ginger being out on the street like this is extremely concerning to me because of her history of running away, being on the streets, and going MIA. Thankfully, she is willing to communicate with me, but she won't tell me where she is. The last and only update she gave me on what her location was Hollywood Boulevard. I have gone to 4 liquor stores in the Hollywood area, assuming she may be trying to buy alcohol. It is 8:20 p.m. No sign of Ginger yet. She keeps telling us she's coming back. She keeps telling us she'll be here shortly. No show. She's just not stopping for 1 minute to realize anything past herself, Dr. Phil. Please let that be Ginger right there. It is! I found Ginger on her way back to the hotel. I feel for Shannon and Grace to have experienced this, but as they were saying, this is exactly the reason why they tried to get Ginger here to you.
Well, Ginger,
Hello.
how are you doing today?
I'm good. How are you?
Yeah. You came here for help, right? And you want help, correct?
I do.
What is it you think you need help with?
Reuniting with my children and my drug addiction.
So your goal is to ultimately get back with your
I
children.
need to. I want to, badly.
That's what you want.
Yes.
If they were here and I walked them out right now and said, okay, here you go, what would you do?
I have no clue. I wouldn't know where to start. It's been too long.
You wouldn't know how to take care of them,
No,
okay? And would you be able to stop drinking?
probably not.
Probably not. Okay. You went missing yesterday for 12 hours. You stayed in touch, thank you, but we didn't know where you were, what you were doing. So this is about truth telling because, you know, I feel like I can help with about anything that I know about, anything that I have the facts about, and nothing that I don't. So where were you yesterday?
Wandering the city.
Uh-huh. Why?
I've been in my hotel and I don't know why I do that. I've been super anxious about this and
What did you do for 12 hours?
wandered, made friends, drank.
You said you were with, quote, peddlers. That's what you called them.
I just meant like people like just that are out and about like me.
Were you trying to get money?
No.
Okay.
If that's what you're thinking, then that's
No,
ridiculous.
because you would ask me for
And
a
that puts it
ride.
at a whole different level, Mom.
Right, no, that's what I was getting at, because you were asking.
Well,
please
don't
don't.
get self-righteous here because you've said straight up you'll do whatever you have to get alcohol and you can't stop drinking or you go into seizures. So
That doesn't mean that
that's not a ridiculous question.
It is coming from somebody who doesn't know me.
Well, I don't know you.
Her.
And I'm asking because
I
I
mean,
don't know.
her.
I'm gathering
I'm-
information here.
If you want to know, then no, I'm not doing everything for alcohol. In fact, I usually just give it or get it given to me, and
Yeah.
I don't prostitute right now. So that's.
Yeah. Why do
Who
people?
was the guy last night?
Huh?
Who was the guy last night?
Do you guys know who that guy is?
That's why I'm asking you. I don't know who he was.
Then why did you just
Wanted
say
a
that
one-night
so
hookup?
condescending, as if you know something?
I'm asking.
Is it impossible for me to ever meet anybody normal? Any male I'm with,
You met
it's
this guy
it's
on
somebody.
the street and brought him back
Why don't
to
you
the
mind your
hotel
business
room.
until you've actually known something about
That's
that,
why
Grace?
I asked Ginger.
Thank you.
So you met someone?
I met several people. Just
But somebody came back to the hotel with you?
yeah, for a little bit.
Does it not make you wonder why I worry about your
How do you make
safety?
friends?
My sister Ginger, who's an addict, she's been disconnected from our family for about 4 years. She's been an absent mother. She's had very minimal contact with her children. She's also been in very dangerous situations with her addiction and her lifestyle choices. She needs to address her mental health issues and learn to protect her children. The children deserve to be happy without Ginger showing up every 6 months drunk and strung out on drugs. My nephew has a lot of anxiety, anger, and resentment toward his mom. My niece had self-harming tendencies and would bite herself. They can't trust anything that Ginger says. When she tells her oldest child that she'll call him tomorrow, he'll argue with her and tell her, no, you won't, you never do. When Ginger leaves, the children have terrible behaviors for up to weeks and difficulty sleeping.
I wish that Ginger could be well and that she could be a full-time parent to her kids and that we could all come together and be a family.
My biggest fear is that we lose her to her addiction.
Emily, you've been listening to what we've been talking about. What's your relationship with her at this point?
At this point, we don't really have one. Lately, the past probably over a year, her reaching out to me has been basically, if my mom has been ignoring her, she'll say, hey, have you talked to mom? Have her call me to talk to her, or she'll ask me for money for various things.
Mm-hmm. And how did you guys get along before this fork in the road that led to alcohol and drugs and this lifestyle that's so dangerous?
We got along great. We've always been really close.
Do you miss that part of your life where you had relationships with your sisters and
Yeah, she was my best friend, so. And I don't believe that drugs or alcohol was the reason for any type of separation with her at all. So I think that's completely incorrect also.
what do you think it was?
She was in college, I was doing my thing and miles apart. That's all, time, age.
The lifestyle you've been living, which you, I think, will freely admit, has been really traumatic. And you wouldn't wish it on anyone, right? What's been the worst part of it for you?
Losing my kids.
You walked away from the kids twice. You did not lose your kids. Nobody's ever taken them from you. You walked
Were you
away.
saying something?
She's not wrong though, Jim.
I'm asking, in terms of the trauma that you've been through, you've been beaten, you've been prostituted out by pimps, you've been raped, you've been robbed, you've been left for dead in the street. Do you step back sometimes and wonder how the hell you came to this point?
I question it daily. I don't know where I went wrong. It seemed harmless to start dancing. That's where it all began. I wanted to get out of my house. I wanted to give my kids a nice house.
And so you thought, I can handle this, I can do this, keep it
Absolutely.
compartmentalized,
Absolutely.
and then live like everybody else the rest of the time.
Have my kids live better, yeah.
Yeah, they'll be in bed by the time I ever do this.
And then
so-
I'll be gone all night while they sleep, and when they wake up, I'll have a bunch of money and we'll go to Chuck E. Cheese.
Yeah.
And like that was my logic. I want my kids back.
What are you going to do to get them back?
What are you gonna do to stop me or to prevent it?
Ginger's children have been devastated by their mother's addictions and her life out on the streets.
They don't understand why every other kid has mommy coming to school every day to drop them off, and they have grandma. My nephew definitely holds in his feelings, but when they come out, he is very angry. He will break his toys. My niece shows more of the sad side. She misses mommy.
I don't talk to my kids often. I choose to stay away because it's easier for my kids to forget about me.
Before Ginger was out on the streets, she was living in conditions so deplorable that her son, his bed, had burn holes in it, and her daughter's crib had stripper shoes in it and dirty panties, everything but a baby blanket and baby sheets. When I saw those conditions and how my daughter Ginger was behaving, I couldn't leave those kids.
I was extremely dysfunctional, which is why I volunteered to the temporary order with my mother.
You walked out the door.
Right, and you kept it shut.
My daughter thinks I'm trying to steal her children, and that is the furthest thing from the truth. I didn't want those kids put with strangers.
I do know that my kids are well taken care of, but I regret that she took it this far.
What is it that she's done that you wish she hadn't done?
They went behind my back and got involved with court. I never got to go to court. They say they couldn't find me.
Well, no, we couldn't find her, Dr. Phil. The paperwork we have is never changed. It is still just a guardianship, and her name is still on it as an equal entity.
Did you or did you not tell me I lost custody?
I've never said anything.
You
The
threw
word
it in my
custody,
face
number one,
during
never came
arguments.
up.
I thought that for over a year that I
Don't. Just can I explain to you?
What are you talking about?
I
Did
have
you or did
told
you not go
all
behind
along
my
that
back?
You're belligerent in the face of people that have saved your children from being in the foster care system, which is broken. A, they probably would have separated your children,
And yeah, I agree.
so they wouldn't be there together.
I agree.
But yet they've stepped in and taken care of your children, and you got the audacity to sit there and criticize them because you don't like the way they did it. You ought to be kissing their feet because they've been keeping your children safe while you've been out doing what you've been doing. Instead, you want to pick at some point, well, you went to court behind my back. You didn't want to go to court because you would have probably lost all parental rights had you gone to court.
agree.
My job, as I see it, that I assign myself, just so you know, is to get you back with your children. I want to get you back with your children. And in order to do that, you've got to stop being a drunk. You've got to stop being an addict. You've got to stop being a hooker. You've got to stop being self-destructive. You've got to deal with your mental illness, because I can't diagnose you sitting here, but if I was going to do that on the short list, I think you have severe PTSD. You've been beaten, you've been shot at, you've been sex trafficked. I mean, my God, I commend you for being here, upright, vertical, and alive, and having enough gumption to come here and say, I'm still willing to fight for my children. That's why I said, tell me the truth.
Thank you for having me.
Well, you know, I'm on your side because I'm on your children's side, and what they need is you. Nobody can substitute for their mother. You can get yourself cleaned up. We can get you where you need to be mentally and emotionally. We can get you on a career path. We can get you in a clean apartment. We can get your kids in a school where you pick them up every day. You have no idea how well your life can turn around. You just haven't had anybody help you with it. You've had everybody judge you about it. You've had everybody criticize you about it, but you haven't had anybody help you with it.
No.
Then stop fighting the help. You know, God works in mysterious ways. Maybe it's this old bald-headed son of a bitch over here that's here to actually to help you.
Thank you.
My niece and nephew have told my husband and I that sometimes their grandma sleeps most of the day, and I'm afraid that it's not a healthy environment for the children. The situation reminds me of what my sisters and I experienced growing up with my mom.
I've made a lot of mistakes in my life, but one thing that I do know how to do is raise kids.
My niece and nephew have never seen a dentist. They don't go to the doctor regularly. Usually there were dirty plates all over the counter and dirty laundry everywhere.
My mom doesn't have a job. I pay for her car and for her phone. My dad pays my mom's rent.
Her power has been shut off a couple of times due to lack of payment. I can provide a much more stable home for the children. I want temporary guardianship of the children because I want them to be taken care of.
I do not think she should have custody of the kids.
At first, my mom was supportive. Now she's changed her mind.
She's not even been around but a handful of times in the last year.
My mom says I'm not responsible enough to be a parent to the children.
She doesn't understand the complexity of it because she hasn't had kids yet.
We will get lawyers involved if we have to.
I've been hearing rumors from my sister herself and her husband about wanting to adopt my children. And what I have to say about that is they can both f*** off.
Well, joining us now is Dr. Charles Sophy. Now, Dr. Sophy is one of the most renowned and distinguished psychiatrists in the country. He's the retired medical director for the County of Los Angeles Children and Family Services. He's a member of our advisory board here. Dr. Sophy, thank you for being here. In terms of the court getting involved, their determination is what is best for the children. Nothing else matters, correct?
Absolutely. What is best for them from an intellectual standpoint, physical standpoint, emotional standpoint, feeding, everything. Stability, stability, stability.
There's a question as to whether or not, posed by Emily, whether or not you are preventing stability in the children's lives. And she says that you are because you have allowed Ginger to be around the children when she's drunk or high, that you wouldn't even let Emily watch the children while you came to LA, that you drove with Ginger and children in the same car. Was that in the best interest of the children? That you've had your power shut off multiple times, which is not stable for the children, that you're unemployed, you don't pay rent, that you have a psychiatric history as well, and is that managed or is it not managed? So what do you say about that?
Well, I say that most of that is either incorrect or taken out of context, number one. Allowing Ginger to be around the kids, this just happened when she called and asked for it to come back from treatment. And I actually called Emily myself to have her come and get the kids because I didn't know what to expect from Ginger. I'm unemployed because of COVID. I was working, sir. I'm. And
Mom,
I do
you
have
didn't
to.
have a job before COVID either.
You were supposed to be helping with babysitting. You and Isaiah were complaining the entire time. I took on
Because we
full-time
offered
hours.
to help temporarily.
No,
You did
no,
not
that
make
was
that
not
a
the
temporary
deal.
solution.
You know that's not true,
Okay,
Emily
I'm not going to
Summer.
argue with you.
According to Emily, she and her husband are stable, reliable, and a safe option for the children. So they have reliable jobs and income. They have reliable vehicles. One of them is paid off. She has health insurance, that she pays her bills on time, that they will set healthy boundaries, that they're prepared to do what's in the best interest of the children. Right. This needs to be resolved among the family.
Right.
You don't want the government involved in this, Dr. Sophie, true or false?
They do not want the government.
Right.
Because the decision will be made for you and you won't like it. Right?
Look, this is doable. And it's chess, not checkers. Right. Let me tell you, there are some things you got to do. This is chess, not checkers. Right. You've got to think your way through this. All right, Ginger, your children have needs here. And there's real questions about who can provide the proper care, some combination of proper care or whatever. But what we know for sure is those children need their sober, healthy mother back in their life taking care of them. Yes. Because nobody will look out for their interests the way their own mother will if you're clear-eyed and have your head on straight. And I think there are two things that you have to deal with. One is I think you're clearly an alcoholic and an addict, and I think that has to be dealt with. And I think simultaneously with that, as I've said, I think you are a trauma survivor. I think the things that have happened to you, I don't think you even know how profoundly they've affected you. You've got to deal with those things at one and the same time until you get it right, get your feet on the ground, get some sobriety, and maintain it. And if you don't, then they're going to terminate your parental rights and you're going to lose your children completely. And they're going to go maybe to family members, maybe to foster care. That will be up to the state. The way for you to turn that around is to get yourself straight so you can be the responsible mother that you want to be. Now, I'm prepared to help you do that. And I've asked a very good friend of mine to be here today. Dr. Dina Mannion is the clinical officer leading a team of medical and clinical professionals at West Wind Recovery Centers in Los Angeles here. You've been listening to what we've been talking about here, and I have every confidence that you and your team can intervene in a dual diagnosis fashion with Ginger and give her the help that she deserves and has deserved for a long time. What do you think?
I think definitely. Hi, Ginger. Hi. We can definitely help you at Westwind, and I love everything that Dr. Phil said, and I agree with him in terms of needing to get you detoxified from drugs and alcohol first so that we can look at the trauma, the depression, the anxiety, and ultimately get you back with your kids because they need their mom.
It's time for you to have some peace in your life. It's time for you to have those kids scrambling up on the couch next to you so you can sit together and be a family with all of these guys involved and helping and supporting. But Ginger, this is something I want to do with you, not to you. And this isn't some 28-day, one-size-fits-all. These people work to criteria. They work until we get it right. And that's what I'm offering you today.
Thank you.
And I want to know, is this something you're willing to do?
Absolutely. I'm grateful. Thank you. And yes.
Well, Dr. Mannion, we will make arrangements and turn her over to your able team and see if we can't work to get her on the right path. And in the meantime, you and Emily, you guys need to talk this through and figure out what's the best way to take care of these children while she's doing the work she needs to get better.
Yes, sir. My daughter Ginger is an alcohol-dependent addict.
A young mom's dangerous lifestyle.
Drinking, doing drugs, and selling her body.
Did you or did you not tell me I lost custody?
They stepped in and took care of your children, and you criticize them because you don't like the way they did it?
Next, Dr. Phil. Check your local listings.